Just the tip of the iceberg. Reconstructing Gaza and establishing leadership in the region are also up for discussion. Tal Heinrich, the spokesperson for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, joining us now. Tal, I want to jump right in and start with that question of a two-state solution. Secretary Blinken is in the region, just landed a little bit ago in Tel Aviv, actually. But before taking off, he said this.
A very powerful path that we can see before us to actually get to lasting peace and security. And it's coming ever more sharply into focus. An Israel that is integrated into the region with security guarantees from its neighbors and partners, alongside a practical, time-bound, irreversible path to a Palestinian state living side by side in peace. Israel with the necessary security arrangements for both peoples.
And Tal, Blinken went on to say it's a question fundamentally for our partners, meaning Israel, will have to answer. So what is Israel's answer to that two-state solution currently? Is it still what the Prime Minister had said last week, which is essentially sovereignty without full sovereignty, without security control?
Well, I think you know the answer, because Israelis have always wanted peace. And in fact, we've made peace with many Arab neighboring countries in recent years. The Palestinians did not want to join this circle of peace for many years, even though the opportunities were right in front of them, the offers. They rejected one after another since 1937, when Israel always said yes to peace. And the reason is that the Palestinians did not want a state next to Israel, but they rather wanted a state instead of Israel. And this is why we say that for real peace, a durable peace, not just empty slogan, to really exist, the right conditions have to be in place. Hamas, of course, they are the enemies of peace. There can be no peace as long as Hamas are in power in the Gaza Strip, and we're working to eliminate them. Hamas must be gone. Gaza must be demilitarized, because what is peace that would pose a security threat to Israel? That is not peace. And the Palestinian society must be de-radicalized. The Palestinians have to understand that they are not refugees if they are Palestinians in Palestinian territory under Palestinian rule, that their future of the Palestinian in Gaza is in Gaza and not within the state, the borders of the state of Israel. So these are things, these are processes that will have to happen before we can talk and implement real peace.
But Tal, to that point that you have to talk and implement those policies, the Biden administration is reportedly, and we have not confirmed this, but reportedly drawing up internal policy options that would officially recognize a Palestinian state after the war in Gaza. But to be clear, that would be before this war is over. They'd be recognizing them if that reporting is accurate. So what's your response to that possibility? And is Israel willing to derail a possible peace deal with Saudi Arabia, which has really said point blank that that is contingent on peace in Gaza?
Well, I'm not going to comment on specific reports because, as you said, these are just reports. You know, we've been in touch, Jerusalem and Washington, on an hourly basis, almost a daily, hourly basis since the beginning of this war on October 7th. We may not see eye to eye on every small detail, but in the bigger scheme of things, I think it's important to say here that Jerusalem and Washington do agree on what they want to see down the road. We want to see all hostages returning back home. We want to see Hamas eliminated, gone from Gaza for good. We want to see a demilitarized and de-radicalized Gaza. We don't want this territory to ever again emanate the terror threats to Israel. And while the Israeli military is working on accomplishing these things, we all want to see the minimal civilian suffering and civilian casualties on the Palestinian side. So there's no daylight.
So really quickly, though, on that question of hostages, how many do you believe are still alive? And the Qatari Prime Minister did say they delivered a response from Hamas to Israel. What has the Prime Minister said about that? The President had called some of their aspects a little over the top.
So, Serena, we want to see our stolen people back. There are 136 hostages being held in Hamas captivity in terrible conditions for more than 4 months now. And we want to see them back, and we will have all of them back. We will continue to exert the military pressure on
I'm sorry, you said 136, but I just want to clarify. There was some reporting that an Israeli intelligence said that some of those individuals might already be dead. Can you confirm that?
Well, as the IDF spokesperson said today, our military has informed the families of 31 Israelis who are held in Gaza that their loved ones are presumed to be dead. 31.
So 31 dead, but you still believe more than 100 are held hostage, and that's part of that Qatar deal?
And we will have them back. There are talks, of course, through international mediators. I know that you guys have been reporting that. We don't really expand the talk about the nature of these talks or the terms that are being discussed because human lives hang in the balance here. But we know what works with these brutal terrorists, and that is heavy military pressure. By exerting this pressure, by hitting Hamas hard, the terrorists on the ground are begging for a breather, and this is what created the conditions back in November to create this outline that saw the release of some of the hostages. We hope to create another framework of this kind potentially.
Heinrich, spokesperson for the Israeli Prime Minister, thank you so much. I could go on with you for probably an hour plus, but we have so much more to get to right here on The Race.
We hope to do that in the future. In the meantime,